What's good, everybody? So over this weekend, I had one of the people when shooting a wedding come ask me, Slate, Mr. Slate, what do you use a slate for? And like, should actually do a video on what I use a slate for when I'm shooting weddings. So a lot of the reasons why I use a slate are highly influenced by filmmaking, making films. So what is the role of a slate? So the role of a slate is to identify the scene, and the second role of it is to sync the audio and the visual, because most of the times, like right now, I'm using a wireless mic which is connected to the receiver. The camera is recording the visual. So now when you get to the audio or the post-production, you need to sync the visual and the audio, and that's where the slate comes in hand. And also when you're in the edit room, the slate gives you a good visual representation of what is happening on the scene. So let's just start with the scene identification. So we've got the production company here, which is the production company. So we've got the production here, which is the production. This is the production we are shooting with. And the production company, that's where I usually write my clients' names. And then director, this is me, my DOP or the second camera operator, Chris. And then we've got the card or the roll. How you name it is, this is actually an A. So the first letter should be a letter which indicates your main camera. So let's say I'm slating for the A camera, then it will say A00, which is the roll 001. So my SD cards, or SSDs rather, would be numbered number 1, number 2, number 3. So immediately when the editor sees this, they know that this was being recorded on the first SD card. And then slate, which is also the scene, you just put the number of the scene you're shooting, and then the take, the take you are shooting. So if you are taking the second take, you'll put the second take. The third take, you'll put take 3. And another thing to note with the slate is that if you are shooting the first scene and then we cut and then your camera angle changes or you change the lens. Let's say, right now the camera is in front of me. Let's say we change the camera to come to the side, then it's gonna be scene 2A. So scene 2A, which is also, can also read it out as scene 2 alpha. So what scene 2 alpha means, it just tells us that it's still the same scene, but the camera angle has changed or we've changed the lens. And then the take will also start from the bottom, because now this is now scene 2 alpha, take 1. And then you've got the date of whatever you're shooting. And then here you just have day and night, which is day. If you're shooting during the day, you'll have day visible. And if you're shooting at night, you'll have night visible. And then you also have interior or exterior if you're shooting like that. And then LUT is your lookup tables. And then sound or MOS. If you've got sound, you'll cover up MOS. If you don't have any, if you're not recording any sound, then you'll have MOS visible. What we would do is that, if we are not recording sound, then there's no reason to clap it because there's no sound. So whenever you present the board in front of the camera, it will be like this. So now the applications of a slate. Who usually uses the slate? On a film set, it will be what we call a second camera assistant. That will be the person using the slate. One thing you need to do with a slate is that the moment the camera starts rolling, you need to have the slate in front of the camera. This is so that when the editor goes into the edit room, the first thing they will see in all the footage is the scene identifications part of it. And then the audio syncing part. How do you sync audio? How does that whole sequence work? So here, if you can see on my screen here, I've got 2 audio lines here. I've got the first one, which I've now changed the color now to be yellow. So we've got this sound which is coming from the camera, and then we've got this audio which is coming from the wireless receiver. So visually, I can already see that this is where the clapper clapped, So this is why we need a clapper board, because then the moment you hit that slap, I already know that this is where I must merge the two. There are actually 2 ways to do this. You can automatically sync it with DaVinci Resolve. So DaVinci Resolve has an option which is called auto sync audio. The moment I select it based on waveform, it will automatically sync the audio. And if I want to, manually sync it, or let's say the the auto one fails and then I want to manually sync it, I'll just go through the point where the slate hits. You can see very visually that this is where the slate picks, and then this is where I must link them. So it's another way of linking your footage. So yeah, so that is why you use a slate. Ideally, when we shoot weddings, we usually have 2 cameras, and we'll have 2 audio recording devices. So we'll have a wireless mic and also an audio recorder, where we use the zooms to record the audio. And now you can only imagine if you've got 2 camera feeds coming and 2 audio feeds coming, how do you manually or automatically sync the 2, and how do you know which footage is which one? Instead of you going through the whole footage automatically, because you've got a slate in front of your camera, it tells you, is this the scene that you want or not, and then you've got it. So yeah, so that's all for today. So we'll call this we don't have a name for this, but this is where we'll just be giving some quick tutorials, like just under, the goal was under 5 minutes. I think I'm over 5 minutes, but the goal is just in 5 minutes, make it short and punchy. You learn whatever you need to learn. Please feel free to drop me more questions on stuff to tackle and all that. And see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a good one.